I was doing a little bit of research last night with Mandela Effects, and along our course of research we got into Cern. It isn't even what we was looking at. What we were looking at originally will be coming up shortly in videos from both of us, but something really concerning we came across. Concerning because it concerns Cern, in particular Shiva. Now, this statue has changed, and it's changed greatly. He got an image of it up on his screen, and he says, right, don't look at the image, don't go to it, just describe the image to me. Which I did, and he said, yeah, that's what I remember. He said, now look at the picture. I'll bring this up full screen now, and I'm going to run you through all the changes in the Shiva statue, and presumably in Shiva full stop. Okay, the first thing to point out here is the flames around the outside, which is exactly what it looks like now to me. Now these were more pointed. In fact, they were very much like the spade on a deck of cards. That's completely changed to this flame-like thing now. I don't know what you'd call that. Another change, look at the hands. Now the right arm is extended straight now, which it wasn't, it was slightly bent, and it was bent in a very similar way to the left arm. If you look in the hand on the left arm as well, it's now got a flame in its hand there. But look back at the right hand again, or right hands I should say, there's now two hands there. One in a stop sign type motion, and the other one pointed down with really weird curly fingers. That's quite a big change. Look just above the arms, and you've got these things flailing out the side of her head. They weren't there at all. There's also, just above her head there, some other kind of demon-looking head. I don't know what that is, but that's changed. That was just some structure. I think her head went more up to the top than that, to be honest with you. The legs are in a different position, sort of pointing outwards now a foot. That was straight on sideways. And let's go down below its legs, and you've got this little demon troll thing it's now stood on. I don't know what that symbolises at all. She was just stood on the bottom of the circle. He, I'm not sure. I've heard it referred to as both. As far as I know, I always understood it was a she, but then when I look at songs like Les Horribles, Cernettes,
he was sitting there, floating in the air, alone on a cloud, sparkling all around. He went up when he saw me, with those magnetic eyes. My heart stopped when I saw him. I just couldn't breathe anymore.
Obviously a tribute to Shiva. It's portrayed as a man there, so I'm pretty sure, I've always said, like, since coming across that song, that Shiva's a male. When I look at this now, I mean, the whole thing looks different. Even the shadow behind it obviously looks different. The ribbon coming off off the back there, that was just a single ribbon. Now there's a double ribbon there. And if you look on the actual legs as well, there's bands going around the legs, around the thighs, and like a garter on the thighs, and also on the calves. They weren't there, and it's also got them on the arms there as well. I don't know what that symbolises. The inside of the ring looks pretty much the same. I can't see a difference there, so that seems to have stayed the same. But the only thing that has, I think. But this is very odd, and I don't know what that signifies. To me, it looks even darker now, and I really don't like it. It's not the only change, though. John Ellis, the man, the scientist that sat in his office with the two signs around his neck, Bond 1, Mandela. I did a quite extensive search for this guy not very long back, and could come across hardly any pictures of him at all. Now he's dotted all over. There's tons and tons of pictures of him. Here's a few I've never seen before with his penguin jumper on. I've seen him in a penguin jumper, but the penguin didn't have this sort of, I don't know what it is, design on the chest. Bring it up full screen again. Fella in a Cern logo jumper, or just holding it up in front of him. Looking at the t-shirt behind it, these were taken at the same time that they did the Bond 1 Mandela picture. And just looking at these images here, you've got him there stood next to a girl with Mickey Mouse with a tail. I was going to say it could be Minnie Mouse, but it's not, it's Mickey Mouse, that. Indicating, I think, how Mickey Mouse Cern are, you know. I don't know the relevance of that, but there is something there with that penguin. I don't know what it is yet. I'm still looking into that. But that is not the same penguin he had on his jumper. The penguin looks different, and the red markings around it look different. And the Cern logo as well. This is something that was noticed a while back, but you used to be able to quite clearly make 3 6s out of it. Now you can't do that with the logo. You could still do it, but you've got a little bit dangling down the bottom there. If you look on that jumper, on the left hand side, another extended piece. Now that was never there. There's also now on that jumper 1, 2, 3, 4 straight lines on the right hand side rather than 3. And originally, way back, the Cern logo was just 1 circle, but there's now 2 circles there. Let's go back to Mickey Mouse and the penguin, or John Ellis and his friend there. That skeleton that's behind them, look at the skull on that. There's a lot of changes with that skeleton. We'll get into those with the more pictures. You can see him on this other penguin picture as well, the skeleton behind him there. That looks, the head is almost robotic now, which I don't know, is there a message there that we're becoming integrated with computers? Certainly I see this in society, people just constantly head in the phone and paying absolutely no attention to the real world around them. The first step of humans and machines merging, that it really is. They call it a smartphone. Every time you ask somebody a question or anything like that, suddenly it's, you know, oh, I'll just check on Google, I'll Google it, you know. Nobody uses their own brains anymore. Nobody uses their memories. Perhaps that's why the Mandela Effect isn't being picked up mainstream, because people just are too wrapped up in the digital world to look around at the real one around them that's ever changing. Let's have a look at a few more of these images now of John Ellis. Okay, so if we look first about this picture of John Ellis. Now, as I said, this image behind him's changed, the jigsaw puzzle. That was blue. This again is something that me and Mandela Effects were discussing, and as far as we can see, there's so many changes in the backgrounds of these pictures. This is quite obviously from a new timeline. Now, of course, Cern won't be excluded from the changes in reality, but the changes I've seen around this guy have surprised me a little bit. I mean, if they're controlling it, then it certainly is, well, it's very suspicious what they're doing. Now this sign here, Prof, and then you can't really read what's behind it there, and well, you're guessing that's Prof really, and then something KingsCollRus with a backwards R. Now this gives us a much clearer look at the sign, and it's Prof KingsCollRus. And of course you've got the skeleton here. I spoke bad about Sussy here around the skeleton. Now that's something to do with the Atlas Sussy, something to do with the Atlas sensor. Stuff on the desk, I've not picked up any clues off that. And it's got a different top on there, it's probably full of clues as well. I'm looking for the signs, I'm looking for them giving information away, because I believe they are doing. Going back to the original picture of Bond 1 Mandela, you can see that sign's quite clearly up there. Now if you look at this, there's just two signs there, but if we zoom in, you can't really see it very well on this picture, but I'll get it in another frame shortly. There's three cards, and in fact if you look at the strings, there's another card behind the Bond 1. The strings are going down to it. We'll look at another picture shortly where it shows that very clearly. I also don't remember this hash up here, Bond #1 Mandela, and his t-shirt is different. This was white with blue writing on, something about being happy at Cern, matched with the sign a little bit. And that's changed as well a little bit. And the papers on his desk here, these look different. There wasn't this, what looks like a mobile phone in a case there, that wasn't there. This plastic red thing here, that wasn't there. And it was different papers on the desk. I don't recognise this in front. The whole thing is now different. Okay, so we've got the Shiva dancers, as I like to call them. A lot of people have referred to Shiva having more arms than it does. Now, it's never has for me. Going back to the subject of the Vitruvian Man again, I suppose, but there they are, bloody prancing away. Okay, so we're at the point now where we see John Ellis in his office with the signs. There you can see the third sign behind these two. It goes down beyond that as well. So it It looks like it's going to be the same size card as these two are. What it says, I don't know. And this, look, it's gone there now. Could just be that it's shifted angle a little bit and it's gone right behind, but you can still see all the strings, and these ones now crossed, which they weren't before. And we are happy at Cern, which was an email address clue, I think. Mandela Effects actually sent them an email to happy@cern.ch or whatever, and it didn't get delivered back as undeliverable, so it went somewhere to someone. Just going back to that though as well, with the sign for Professor KingsCollRus, if we do a search on the internet for this, you can see I've already done this. As I say, we was doing the research last night, but it brings you to this odd page, very final version. This is from 2011, and we can see the name there, Professor KollRus. Tintin film music. I don't know what the relevance is there. This is interesting. Tom's daughter and Tom's daughter spelt different. Reminds me of Bernstein and Bernstein and all the other name changes that have happened. So there's the first reference to this fella right at the very start. It starts at the end. Applause. Tintin music stops. And KingsCollRus, or KingsCollRus, it's got the capital R there just to indicate that it should be backwards, I think. What's that? Wrong reference frame again. The end is supposed to come after the play, not before it. Reverses sign, shows the beginning, ejects TD1 and TD2, will return with new sign. And then it says Madonna, quicker than the speed of light music. Wasn't that a ray of light? Might be a clue there, I'll have to check that out. So Tintin and the Mystery of the Missing Higgs. Snuzzy, interesting name, very light sussy. But it goes on, our editor wants to know why Cern has not found the Higgs boson and has wasted billions of Swiss francs. Tintin, that means tens of billions of euros. That means trillions of Greek drachmas introduced by our new dictator, Ignacio Pandrio. No idea what that means. Something about Alice then. Spring. In our Arab countries we are also getting rid of our dictators. Some reference to the Arab Spring. I don't know. But it goes on and it's talking about how somebody at Cern some of the scientists are hiding the Higgs boson. There is no Higgs boson. I have replaced it with a bound state of techniquarks. Techniquarks, not technibarks. I don't know if there's any relevance to that. Well, then says that it refers to the electroweak data, which suggests, I don't know, Mickey Mouse data. But they go on, there is no Higgs boson. I've replaced it by boundary conditions in a curled up extra dimension. How do you stabilise the fifth dimension? And then he goes on to say, what do you suggest? I cannot hear you with all this building work along the corridor. There's so much racket in my office, I cannot hear myself think. This must be referring to building work going on there. Perhaps they're building stuff in secret. I don't see a blackboard anywhere, can't see it. Goes on. Supersymmetry, Higgs boson, 100 meters underground. Is that reference to the collider? Or maybe a secret collider being built further down. Snuzzy thinks we have evidence for the Higgs boson. We do not have any evidence for the Higgs boson. We have two bumps, but they are rather small. So what do you have? Well, it might weigh over 500 gigaelectron volts. That is not possible. It disagrees with the precision electroweak data. But if Higgs mass is lower, its production must be lower than the standard model. Fuck, don't depress, you dare suppress my couplings. The person who needs his couplings suppressed is Dominic Strauss-Kahn. Interesting reference. Isn't he in charge of the... well, he was in charge of the World Bank, and then got sex allegations against him, which I think were disproved, but interesting that it's mentioned here. But they keep going on about how they hide in the Higgs boson, it's not real, and then somebody's saying that it is real, but they've bound it and they've changed it and stuff. It's very, very strange. Loud farty noise, everybody put... I mean, jeez. It seems nonsense, but again, I'm sure there's clues in here. Just as the Higgs was being discovered, who is daring to cheat us of our great day? Alice, of all people. We have shown that quark gluon plasma is almost a perfect liquid, just like Snuzzy's piss. I mean, it's very, very new world, isn't it? Must be physics beyond the standard model. What's that terrible racket? Just as the Higgs is, and it says the same again, repeats. You'll notice the scenes go down here as well. It's 4, 3, and now we're on scene 2. The Italian minister paid for it. It all goes way to the Gran Sasso laboratory. Ah yes, Gran Caso. That's some mountain range, that, the Alpines, I think. Tom's daughter and Tom's daughter. It's two people in the same reality there, one from one dimension, one from the other. Is that what's going to happen? Are we going to meet our doppelgangers? KingsCollRus, I cannot be hearing right. According to the length of something, I can't bloody read that, a penny in horn, the pitch of her voice should be perfect. This is the explanation. Opera Fiasco's voice is reaching the other and 60 nanoseconds too quickly. Her voice is travelling faster than the speed of sound. Is that a reference to the change in the speed of sound? They keep going on about somebody cheating them out of their great day. I don't know what that means. But it's all very strange, and it goes on and on. These are interesting. 531 gigaelectron volts, the standard model will blow up. This is really great news. Supersymmetry is dead. They go on to say somewhere as well about it being light at 125 gigaelectron volts or something. And then it goes on, the beginning of the end, the real one this time. Changes music from Apocalypse to Oh Soul Mio, which is the Cornetto advert. Just one cornetto, give it to me, you know, the old Walls advert. And then goes on to this song here, which I presume goes to that song, you know, to that music. Jabella, Cosa Faster Than Loose, upsetting. I mean, it goes on. It's in Higgs' face. It's brighter still. Below the light, Higgs signal, I'll stay. I don't know what it all means. Really don't. It's very odd.
So what does it all mean? I really don't know. This is where I need your help. Don't worry about the background moving, it's just the cat. Don't think it's that one that Bluebee had found with the backgrounds going all weird in pictures. I've seen a few comments on my videos about that. It's not normally the cat, to be fair. It's normally stabilisation on the camera. It just activates itself every time I put the camera on, and sometimes forget to turn it off, and you get the background wobble in and out. I've looked through all my videos because I've seen comments on this off people a few times, and I can assure you that is all that is. But yeah, what does all this mean? This, I think, is the biggest clue in the whole Cern story, Shiva. The god of destruction, certainly their god, and indicates the evil that that is involved here. I do think Cern are evil. I do think they're up to no good. Have they caused the Mandela Effect? I've always said I don't know. We can't say for sure that they have. Looking suspicious though. And even if they haven't created it, they're either manipulating it or using it for their own gain. Again, they might just be using it to get attention drawn to themselves. Well, we'll draw attention to it. We'll expose it. Let me know in the comments what your thoughts are on all this, because I'm on different theories here, and I'm just not sure at the moment. I'm going to be looking deeper into it and doing more videos on this, of course, but I'd love your feedback on this. Let me know what you think Cern are doing, what these changes mean. Ready for the next video, because as I say, I'll shortly be doing more on this, and there's more here than meets the eye. They're putting out clues, they're putting out signs. What does it all mean?